I'm currently in LAX and I'm headed to Bali with my daughter and a couple of friends. And if I'm being totally honest, I really don't know what I need from this trip yet, but I have a feeling I'm going to find it somewhere between the beauty and chaos.
Welcome to Whisked by Angela. Here you'll come with me on all my adventures, both big and small, and see what inspires me along the way. There is always something about a day that really stands out, something that really sticks with me. So I head into the kitchen and I create a dish inspired by wherever the day leads me. If you love great food, new experiences, and living life fully, you are in the right place. And I'm so glad you're here.
The first thing that hit me was the traffic. Scooters seemed to come in every direction all at once. Cars were honking and pushing in and out and around each other so tightly you can't even think. Welcome to Bali. Joining me on this adventure was my daughter Chloe, her friend Danielle, and one of my dearest friends, Becky. Becky and I have been friends for over 30 years. She lived across the street from me and helped me raise my daughter Chloe. Life eventually took us in different directions, but this trip gave us a chance to spend 10 incredible days together. Her sweet voice surprised her with this trip, and what a trip it was. Before arriving, a good friend of mine connected me with a local guide named Dewa. Dewa helped plan much of our itinerary and made sure we experienced the very best of Bali. He was injured during most of our trip, so his brother stepped in to drive, but Dewa's fingerprints are all over this trip. What surprised me the most about Bali was how quickly the chaos gave way to beauty. One minute you're surrounded by traffic and scooters and screaming and honking, and the next you're looking at rice terraces that seem to go on forever. Everywhere I looked, there was something beautiful growing, blooming, flowering, or just reaching toward the sky. Of course, no trip to Bali would be complete without trying the famous Kopi Luwak. It is one of the most expensive coffees in the world. If you're not familiar with it, it's coffee that's made from the beans that have been eaten, digested, and, well, let's just say processed by a cat called the civet. I know how that sounds, but surprisingly, it was absolutely delicious. Long before the sunrise, we climbed into a Jeep and we headed up Mount Batur, an active volcano. It was completely dark and we couldn't see much of anything around us. All we knew was that hundreds of people seemed to be making the same journey. As the sun began to rise and the light filtered in, the clouds below us slowly appeared. It felt like we were literally standing above the world. It was peaceful, dreamlike, and absolutely captivating. And then daylight revealed something else. Chaos! What had felt peaceful and isolated in the darkness turned out to be a mountain full of jeeps, tourists, and one massive traffic jam. Apparently, everyone in Bali had the same sunrise idea. Before heading back down the mountain, we explored Mount Batur's black lava fields. It was created by past eruptions. The landscape was unlike anything that I've ever seen. The lush green vegetation suddenly disappeared, and it was replaced by miles of jagged black volcanic rock. Nothing else. It felt more like another planet than a tropical island. After a very early morning of darkness, volcanoes, lava fields, and traffic jams, we finally slowed things down. We spent the rest of the morning relaxing at a natural hot springs park overlooking Lake Batur. It was the perfect ending to one of the most memorable adventures of the trip. Oh my God, Bali is famous for its waterfalls, and after seeing them in person, I completely understand why. Pictures are beautiful, but they don't capture the sound, the mist, or the feeling of standing beneath all that power. This may be one of the most beautiful photos I've ever taken, but what you can't see is how absolutely terrified I was. Legs shaking, not breathing, terrified. Oh my gosh, one of the most memorable experiences of this whole trip was spending time with rescued elephants. Chloe and I had the chance to help wash one together. And oh my gosh, you are just amazed by their size and their intelligence. Oh, and their gentle nature. Just when I thought that we'd seen the best of Bali, we boarded a boat. If Ubud felt like the heart of Bali, Nusa Lembongan felt like a deep breath. The pace slowed down. The water turned impossible shades of blue, and my heart was at peace instantly. I don't know if I've ever been happier. I could have spent an entire month here. One of the biggest surprises of this entire trip was discovering water blow huts. Perched on the cliffs near Devil's Tier, this small boutique resort overlooks some of the most spectacular ocean views that I have ever seen. The crashing waves, the sound of the ocean, the traditional Balinese huts, it felt like we had discovered a hidden corner of paradise. And honestly, we had. Oh my gosh, and the food. I'm gonna say it again. The food. And then there was Sari. She managed the resort, but she quickly became much more than that. She even joined us one morning to make sure we captured the best photos of the island. She helped me find spices to bring back home. She shared all her local recommendations, and she even showed up with a hat to protect me from the Bali sun. It's funny how sometimes the smallest acts of kindness become the memories you treasure the most. Just off the coast of Bali sits Nusa Penida, home to some of the most recognizable and photographed landscapes in the entire world. The island's dramatic cliffs, turquoise waters, and rugged coastline have become symbols of Bali itself. So of course, we couldn't visit without seeing them for ourselves. The most famous of them all is Kelingking Beach, known for its towering cliffs and breathtaking views of the Indian Ocean. Well, not all of Bali's residents are known for their manners. And this one little guy had absolutely no shame. The beauty of Bali isn't limited to its landscapes. Some of its most remarkable treasures are found in its traditions. There is just a deep connection between their daily life and spirituality. Offerings, prayers, and rituals aren't reserved for special occasions here. They're woven into everyday life. Whether you're spiritual, religious, or neither, it's hard not to be moved by traditions that have been practiced for centuries. Not every Bali adventure involved adrenaline, volcanoes, beaches, or long drives. One day was devoted entirely to slowing down and embracing Bali's deeply spiritual side. And that day deserves its own episode. The food in Bali is every bit as memorable as the scenery. Every meal was an experience. For our final evening in Bali, we visited Tenalot. Perched on the ocean, it was magical in the evening as the sun was lowering. It felt like the perfect way to say goodbye. By the end of the trip, Dewa wasn't simply someone who helped us get around. He had become part of our story. Saying goodbye was much harder than I expected.
I'm back home from Bali, and wow, what a trip. It was literally a trip of a lifetime. I cannot explain how nice the people were, how beautiful everything was, and the food, outstanding. And on my way home, when I was thinking about, well, what dish am I gonna make to sum this up, I knew exactly what I was going to make. Mie Goreng. And that is Indonesian fried noodles. And it's something that I discovered really quickly there, and I ate it literally daily. On the island of Nusa Lembongan, I met a very special woman. Her name is Sari. And when I got home, I asked her to help me with the recipe. And she gave me the secret. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the secret ingredient, but I am going to put it on the screen here. So if you can find this, this is the secret to the flavor. But I'm going to tackle it. And that's what we're going to make today is Mie Goreng. And I have done some research, and I think I found a workaround to that great sauce that she recommended. So let's see if I can get it right. So we're going to start today with a little bit of oil, and I'm using a blend of vegetable and a little bit of olive oil. To that, I'm going to use chicken breast. Now, the Indonesians used chicken thigh. You can use whatever you would like. And to that, I am going to add about a half a pound of chopped up shrimp. And we're simply going to cook this until brown, about 2 to 3 minutes. But to it, let's add a little bit of salt and some white pepper. Our chicken is cooked about all the way through. So now I'm going to take one of our eggs and I'm going to crack it right over our chicken. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and some pepper directly on that egg. And I'm just gonna scramble it up. All right, I've turned the heat down just slightly. And to my scrambled egg, chicken, and shrimp mixture, I am going to add my leek, both of my chopped shallots, and my garlic. And I'm gonna stir and allow them to soften about about a minute, and everything should become very aromatic. It's been about a minute and it smells amazing. Now, you can add a variety of vegetables to this. So I'm going to use what was easy for me to find and what I enjoy. And I do like carrots. So I have grated or thinly sliced some carrots here. And I'm going to add about a half of a cup right now, so it has a minute to cook. The carrots are just starting to soften, which is perfect. I don't want them too mushy. So to that, I'm going to add my halved cherry tomatoes, and then I'm going to add my Asian egg noodles. To this, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. I'm going to add at least 1 tablespoon of regular soy sauce. You can add a little more if you like. And the Indonesian secret is the sweet soy, which you can get in the soy sauce area, but make sure that it is the sweet soy. And I made this a couple of times and couldn't get it right. And so I did a little research and I discovered that a secret to get that tanginess that the Indonesians are able to get is ketchup. So I'm adding a few teaspoons to few tablespoons of just good old ketchup. And that will give you some tanginess. And we're just gonna stir everything to combine it. Okay, now we're gonna turn our heat all the way up because we want to really fry these noodles and give them that texture, that fried noodle texture. And this is going to caramelize our sauce. It's going to give everything a beautiful golden hue after a bit. Now, I am not a big spicy lover, so if you like spicy, please add as much as you like. You can use sambal. There's so many things that you can use for this. This is the one that I am using right now. And it's a chili garlic sauce, and it is pretty spicy, let me tell you. We're going to mix that around as we fry our noodles. And this is going to get really hot, so don't walk away from the pan. We're just trying to get it crisp on these noodles. Here we go. Starting to get that beautiful caramelized color. So I'm going to flip the noodles over so other areas can get that crispy, dark texture. And I'm going to leave them sit just for a bit, not too long, of course, because I want to get that crispy golden color on more of the noodles. And so we're going to heat it, let it get a little crispy, flip it over, continue doing that. And at this point, we can also add our cabbage. You can also add some bok choy at this point, and I would have, but I couldn't find any young bok choy, and so I decided to skip it. So I'm going to incorporate this in. Our noodles have this beautiful crisp texture throughout. Everything is perfectly done. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some sesame oil over, and it'll continue to cook just slightly. Now I'm going to dish this up. I can't wait. This brings back such great memories of this recent trip. The crown jewel is an over easy fried egg right on top. And we're also gonna add some fried shallots. Doesn't that look beautiful? Now, the Indonesians serve it with a side of lime. So I'll do a slight squeeze. And they serve it with cucumber, but I'm gonna skip the cucumber today. That's totally up to you. But look how beautiful this looks. It has a little tang, it has a little spice, very reminiscent of the Indonesian flavors. This will definitely be a regular on my dinner table. This is a recipe you should try.
When I boarded that plane in Los Angeles, I wasn't exactly sure what I needed from this trip. What I found was a place that was beautiful, chaotic, spiritual, exhausting, welcoming, frustrating, peaceful, and unforgettable. Somewhere between the beauty and the chaos, I found exactly what I was looking for. That's Bali.
Until next time, eat deliciously, live fabulously, and thank you for letting me whisk you away.